Hello and welcome back to Macro Day, and today we are covering a fundamental macro for building smart user-centric forms. It's the key to running code specifically when a user decides to create a brand new record. We're going to dive into the SC button new macro. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to another macro day here on Scriptcase by Jamie. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to help support the channel, and that way I know also that you are watching and enjoying the videos. Otherwise, who knows? Okay, so today's macro is the SC_BTN_new, and as you see, we actually have an error message here displayed on my typical display that we've been using for a little while now, and that is because this is no normal macro. So let me show you how to use this. So we have today the SC_BTN_new macro, and this macro gets placed like so into an if statement, and just like that we can then go ahead and then validate basically, or know when the add new button is clicked on your form or maybe your calendar application. Now, this is a conditional macro, so a Boolean variable. It returns true or false, and true when the add new button is clicked on your form or calendar application. So its purpose is to allow you to execute logic only when a new record is being created. Pretty powerful, right? So it distinguishes the actions from when an existing record is being viewed or edited, and that makes a big difference. This then lets you set basically intelligent yet default values and customize the form's behavior for the insertion process, and that is very important for when we come to insert our data, that maybe then we could have a conditional check, and then when the onload event has happened of the form, well then maybe using this macro we can then maybe make some changes. So for instance, we could have a field called creation date, for instance, and then that we could turn that into a date value, and then with that we have then our date in here like so, and then with that we can then change or set some default statuses of our records, which is quite important. So with this we can automatically populate our fields basically, which is then pretty awesome, right? That saves some time, and it also allows for data to be consistent on click of the add new button. So that is pretty important, and it is quite functional because we can add in here, for instance, not only the created date, but then also indicate, for instance, the creator, his ID number or ID whichever it is, and then we can set that maybe to the user login, or whatever you like. If you have an ID there, then maybe display the ID or the user login, and then with that let's also go ahead and add maybe a status for this end user, which could then be, well, I would say pending, right? Because we're going to be mean to the end user and say that their access is now pending instead of, well, it depends whether that's mean or not. Of course, it may just be a configuration that you require for your form, and that is where this specific macro comes in handy, and this is where you want to then use it. So now in some cases you can then maybe also use this also. So let me copy this. Another option would maybe to hide buttons. So we have, or fields for instance. So if we go SC field underscore display, we have, and that would then allow us to hide or display a field. And then here for instance we could have, say, our creation date, that we have at the top there, and we can switch that off, right? Or switch it on, or whatever else is then needed. Or we can add an else statement here. So if it is not a new form entry, then we can actually switch it on here or switch it off there, whichever we need. And just like that, we can then apply the if else statement or even a switch in there, and then make adjustments to the field values on a new form creation, which is pretty powerful. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've actually ever used this macro. So that is, of course, why I create these videos for you, ladies and gentlemen. So not only can I maybe find one or two macros or a few macros there that I have not actually used, because there are some of these which are just gold to you when you develop within Scriptcase. Okay, so there you have it, a simple macro that provides crucial power, and that is the SC button _ new macro, which is now your new tool for creating intelligent, personalized, and efficient data entry forms, right? So if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more macro day goodness, and let me know in the comments how you are using this specific macro to perfect your applications. And I'll see you next Friday for another macro day right here on Scriptcase by Jamie.